Okay, I have parameters, inputs. The first input have two values. Second input has three values. Third input has three values. Fourth input has three values. Fifth input has four values. Sixth input has three values, A6, C6, and the last, or before the last, input number 7, three values. And for click or not click, if you want to include it as input also, if you don't, can. But here, based on the table here, I include it as a input. If you want to remove it, so because it's click or not click, because if you click, it will show something. If you don't click, nothing will happen. So if you want to ignore the not click, also can. But let's count it as a, because it's I will calculate many test cases. So here, 2. So what will be my test case IDs? It will be the total number of test cases, this number. So using the calculator. Okay. Invalid input, of course. 388, 6480, 6480. You just time, you just time this. You just time 2, time 3, time 3, time 3. Okay. So 6,000. Your friend answer and give. So the ID for this one is test case ID 6,000. Can you imagine? Can you imagine how many test cases? 6,048, 6,480 test cases. So if you want to generate these test cases, can you generate manually? No, you cannot do it manually. So we have to use tools to generate this. This one called test automation. Test automation also not only in the running, also in generating the test cases will help you. Test automation, like if you remember in static testing, we have static analysis by tools like compiler. That is test automation. The compiler will automatically test your code, your designs. Okay, that's also test automation, but that's in static testing. And also in generating test cases, also we need tools that generate the test cases to help us to generate test case, because we cannot generate manually. And some windows, it will be huge, like millions of test cases. Like for example, if you have it open the Microsoft Word, let's say, okay, let's say I will show you this. This window here. This window in AirAsia.com, you want to test this window. And then based on the table here, it shows how many inputs here. This is the input number 1, input number 2, input number 3. Then you have to generate the test cases for all these inputs. This such as some questions in final, I ask you to calculate only. I cannot ask you to generate the test cases like 6,000 or something. So this one will cover in the chapter that I said will come next week. So for example, this we cannot generate test cases. Like here you have 24,000 test cases. Okay. We cannot generate that, but as for final exam or for test or assignment, I will ask you just to calculate to show me, because you are going to be as a test analysis or testers, you have to show that exhaustive testing is impossible, so you cannot test every part. Also, you maybe if you want to show that to your test manager, you need some tools to help you to generate test cases, so you can show that by calculation to show how many number of test cases that required. So how many number of test cases that required to be generated, which is impossible to be done by manually. So we need the tools to be used during the test generation or test designs. And also like this one only for test design, but also if you want to generate, let's say if you want to let's say you want to test some systems. Now let's say for test automation, in the test automation execution, that one in the test design that we discussed just now. Now if you want to apply you already done some generated test cases and you have a system under test. Okay, you have this system under test, system or unit under test, system under test. Okay, this system under test, it needs some inputs, right? So here it needs inputs. So it needs inputs as a test cases. Okay, and then of course as a black box or white box, you want to will deliver output. Okay, so you give input and then here we'll do some process run. So it will be testing, execution. So here will be execution, running, and give outputs. This one, what we did in the previous, if we use boundary value equivalent partitioning, we generate a list of test cases. Here we have a list of test cases. So we have a list of test cases here that if in the previous example. So and manual testing will read one by one, right? Okay, Control Z. I don't want this arrow. So we read one by one test cases. We read line by line as manual, and then you apply, you run, and you get the output. Then you have to write test log. Here, test log. Test log contains the testing, the outputs, and what are the test cases. If you remember in the red book that I gave, you have example of test log, number of test cases run and fail, pass. You have to list here. So this is the process of testing. You read the test cases after you design, then you run, and then you execute the test cases, and you get the output, and you list it. This is manual testing. So how it can be automated. So if you have 1,000 or 6,000 as the previous example, so tester will feel bored to run all the test cases. Sometimes some test cases look similar, so you have to be focused on each one. Human made mistakes to click or to write or to key in a correct values. So how to also you want to speed up, because if you want to run, so you want to do a testing, if you do it manually, so you need a human to key in. The key in, it takes times, so maybe it takes 2-3 days to run several test cases. So if you want to speed up that process, as well as computer can or a software can do as many as you want in a second, like 1 million test case can be run and sent for a few minutes. Okay, so how to do that? How to do manual automatic testing? So we need something called script. So here we want a script. So there is a need for a script. So this script here, this is a list test cases. The script here, we call it as a script. So script here to be, how to be, so here, instead of the test case here to be run, what I did. Okay. So the input test cases, instead to go directly by human, so replace the human by the script. So here, the test cases or the script will read the test cases, okay? We'll read the test cases and then, just read the test cases, read the test cases, and then apply it as a input. And then after getting the output here, you're getting the output, so then it will list in the test log. So here, the script will replace the tester. Okay. Let's see if someone asks any question. Okay. You can see how is the process of automation. So you write a script in during the development or during your writing the code. You want to speed up the process of testing. So you know the program, this one, how it's the structure of the program, and what is the input that need to be filled up, and what is the output that can be read from this. And then here, and this script will read the test cases and send the input. And